10:07. Good morning, Dave Kaufman in for Elias. Hope you're enjoying your Christmas holidays. We're here all week and all week. Hey, it's Friday. We're here all week, everybody. Try the veal. Tip your waiter. But I'm in next week as well, along with Matt Gite and Jay Ferrara. And a smiling Liz Zagalis from the other side of the glass. Hi, Liz. Hi, Liz. Enjoying your newscast this morning. They were great. I want to talk about something a little bit more serious right now. Coming out of the States, I know we riffed about the president and Home Alone, but there's actually a really big story, a huge piece in the New York Times today. A follow-up to this disgraced Navy SEAL, Edward Gallagher, who was he was brought in by his colleagues for doing just some awful stuff, which we'll get some of the details of this morning. But now there's new video from fellow soldiers describing the depths of the toxicity that he did. He was also pardoned by the president just last week. He was hobnobbing with the president at Mar-a-Lago. Here with more is Dave Phillips, national correspondent covering veterans and the military for the New York Times. Good morning, Dave.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can you give me the basics of the Eddie Gallagher story for those who haven't kept up with it?
Sure. He is the Navy SEALs are one of the more elite commander forces in the United States military, and he was a platoon leader, experienced 20-year combat veteran who was leading a group of SEALs in Iraq. Now, when they were on deployment in Iraq in 2017, other SEALs say he killed a number of civilians, including a young girl, an old man, and a teenage enemy captive that they had captured who was wounded. And the SEALs alleged that when they were treating him for his wounds, their platoon chief inexplicably stabbed the captive in the neck several times, killing him.
And this is there video? Are there texts? How did this come out?
Well, the first way that it came out is that when the SEALs got home from deployment, they told Navy authorities what they saw. A criminal investigation started, and very quickly they found evidence on Chief Gallagher's phone, both texts to other SEALs seeming to claim responsibility for killing this captive, and photos of the chief with holding the dead captive up by the hair with a knife in his hand.
What have we learned from what you guys have just obtained versus what we knew already?
Well, first of all, he went to trial in this summer and was acquitted of all major crimes. He was only convicted of posing for a photo with a dead body. And since then, he's been very vocal that he did nothing wrong and that the men who testified against him are all liars and malcontents. And the reason they lied against him was that they couldn't meet his demanding standards and wanted to take him down. What we got a hold of is some of the Navy's investigation videos. These are hours and hours of videos that agents did one-on-one in interviews with the members of the platoon, trying to draw out what they saw. This is significant because none of these SEALs have ever come out publicly to talk about this. So unless you were in the closed trial where no recording was allowed, you have never heard from them before. And what they tell is a tale of really grim details about how their leader seemed absolutely fixated on getting killed, even if that meant killing people who weren't combatants, how they repeatedly tried to stop him or at least minimize the damage by scaring civilians away with warning shots, and how they went to their chain of command repeatedly in the SEALs trying to report this, and nothing was done.
We're in conversation with Dave Phillips, a national correspondent covering veterans in the military for the New York Times, talking about disgraced Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher, who seems to be a favorite of the president right now. Has the president basically made it impossible for anybody to punish Gallagher?
Well, so that's really interesting. The president has been involved in this case since even before Chief Gallagher went to trial. He intervened several times to let the chief out of jail before trial and help him in other ways. He even considered pardoning the chief before the trial happened, before there had been any finding of fact, which is pretty unprecedented. After the chief was acquitted at trial, President Trump actually tweeted congratulations to him, saying, quote, "Glad I could help." So he has been very close to this. He has called, heaped praise on Chief Gallagher despite some really troubling facts. And as you mentioned at the beginning of the piece, he was meeting with he met with the president and gave him a gift this weekend at Mar-a-Lago. So they are still in contact and pretty close.
How many people have lost their jobs over this?
Oh, boy, so it depends on how you count.
Well, was the Secretary of the Navy is one of them, right?
Right. This became a very public spat because even after the chief was acquitted, the Navy still essentially wanted to fire him. He wasn't convicted of a crime, but they still felt like there was enough misconduct that he had no business being a SEAL. And when they moved to do that, the president said, no, you're not going to do this. I'm going to allow him to stay in the SEALs. And the top civilian leader of the Navy, the Secretary of the Navy, actually was forced to resign over this because he felt like it was absolutely essential to good order and discipline of the military that Chief Gallagher be shown the door.
Finishing up with Dave Phillips for the New York Times, talking about Navy SEAL Edward Gallagher, who was pardoned by President Trump and has been feted by President Trump. Has this changed the way that I know that Trump has really had the support of the military in pretty big numbers throughout his tenure so far? Has this changed that at all?
We are starting to see in polls that his support in the military is fading. That could be due to a lot of things. It could be due to the fact that a very popular Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, resigned. It could be due to a precipitous pullout of troops in Syria, leaving Kurdish allies in the lurch. It could be this. I think that there's people are starting to realize that there's a lot of unpredictability in this commander-in-chief that is not necessarily welcome at a lot of levels in the military.
Dave, thank you so much for your time this morning. Happy holidays. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, and congratulations on just a really fascinating story. Once again, very happy that I have my subscription to the New York Times. Really, I encourage you to go to NewYorkTimes.com and read the piece. Not for kids, so there's some pictures in there that you're going to want to keep away from young eyes, but fascinating and incredible to see. Just what is President Trump's end game with something like this? I don't think any of us really know.